Quiet on the floor, please. Quiet on the floor, please. Sergeant Sadowski.
Good morning, and welcome to today's hybrid New York City Council stated meeting. To minimize disruption, please place electronic devices on vibrate or silent mode. Thank you for your cooperation. We are ready to begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please place all electronic devices to vibrate. Mr. Majority Leader.
Good morning and welcome to the stated meeting of September 6, 2022. I'm Majority Leader Keith Powers and I'd like to thank everyone for joining us here today. If you'd like to follow along, the agenda for today's meeting is posted on the City Council website.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Roll call.
Abreu.
Present.
Ariola. Aviles.
Presente.
Ayala. Barron. Botcher.
Present.
Brannan.
Here.
Brewer.
Here.
Brooks Powers. Caban.
Present.
Carr.
Recording in progress.
Present.
Thank you. De La Rosa.
Here.
Dinowitz.
Here.
Farias.
Present.
Felice. Ayala.
It's like somewhere, but keep going. Like,
Gennaro. Gutierrez.
presente.
Hanif.
Here.
Hanks.
Present.
Holden.
Here.
Hudson.
Present.
Joseph.
Here.
Kagan. Krishnan.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Lewis.
Here.
Marte.
Here.
Mealy. Menon.
Here.
Moya.
Here.
Narcisse.
Présent.
Nurse.
Here.
Osei.
Here.
Palladino. Wrestler.
Here, and happy birthday, Gail.
Richardson Jordan.
I hate birthdays, thank you.
Present.
Thank you. Riley. Rivera. Salamanca. Sanchez. Schulman.
Here.
Stevens.
Here.
Ung.
Present.
Velasquez.
Here.
Vernikoff. Williams. Juan. Yeager.
Here.
Borelli.
Present.
Powers.
Here.
Speaker Adams.
Present.
Thank you. We'll now have today's invocation, which will be delivered by one of my favorite constituents, Rabbi Joseph Potasnik of the New York Board of Rabbis, which is located at 171 Madison Avenue in Manhattan.
Madam Speaker, distinguished members of the council, I just want to say to you, some years ago, I was invited to the installation of Archbishop Timothy Dolan at St. Patrick's Cathedral. he sent me 2 tickets. I only needed one for that occasion. And as I arrived, there was an elderly Catholic woman who wanted to enter, but she didn't have a ticket. So I walked over to her and I said, "Here, I have an extra one. Please take it from me." She said, "Oh, God bless you. Who are you?" She said, "I'm a rabbi." She said, "A rabbi? Only in New York, for a Catholic to get into St. Patrick's Cathedral, do you need a rabbi to give you a ticket?" I think her message really was that we all, believers of different faiths, belong to one family and must be there for one another. My parents came to this country after the Holocaust, having lost 5 children. One of the first groups to reach out to them were the nuns of St. Mary's Church in Lynn, Massachusetts. They understood that anti-Semitism is anti-Christianity, is anti-Islam. When the hate mongers marched in Charlottesville, Virginia, a group of Christians formed a protective perimeter around the synagogue and said to them, "You want them? You go through us." When houses of worship are desecrated in New York City, we all stand together and say, "You've assaulted their tradition, you've assaulted ours." So all of us have to stand in solidarity against this scourge of hatred in our city, whether it's on a subway, on a street, or even on a college campus. Services don't conclude when we walk out of the sanctuary. They continue when we serve one another in the streets. Years ago, there was a magazine called Life. Some of you remember. After Life, there was a magazine called People. After People, there was a magazine called Us. After Us, there was a magazine called Self. We started with Life. We concluded with Self. We Jews read from right to left. So first we begin with Self. And then it's about us, who must bring decency and dignity to all people on this journey we call life. Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Potasnik. I'm now going to ask Councilmember Dinowitz to spread the invocation on the record.
Thank you. I'd just first like to say, Rabbi Potasnik, that was a beautiful invocation. And just so everyone knows, he's the executive vice president of the New York Board of Rabbis, who under his leadership, membership almost doubled, and it is the largest interdenominational body of rabbis in the entire world. Since 1972, he's been the spiritual and educational leader of Congregation Mount Sinai in Brooklyn Heights, New York, and is presently Rabbi Emeritus. He has served as chaplain of the New York City Fire Department since 1999. Rabbi Potasnik maintained a high profile, helping many families cope with the disaster of September 11th. But as you heard in his invocation, it is not just within the Jewish community that Rabbi Potasnik does his work, and especially now more than ever, that work is extremely important. Rabbi Potasnik co-hosts The Rev and the Rabbi on WABC Talk Radio 77 with Reverend A.R. Bernard since 2018. He's the host of a TV program, Faith to Faith, on JBS, which is seen around the country and invites people of all faiths to participate in meaningful interfaith conversation and dialogue. He was at the Twin Parks fire funeral, the funeral for the tragic fire, and spoke there, and sponsors iftar dinners. And as he said, most importantly, even though he's from Boston, he took Mariano Rivera to Israel twice, which he's very proud of. He's the honorary president of Religions for Peace International. It is a great honor to have him here with us today in our city doing that hard work of bringing people of different faiths together in conversation. And I ask for, make a motion for unanimous consent to spread the record, to spread the invocation in full upon the record.
Thank you, Rabbi Potasnik, for being with us today as well. I always appreciate your presence and the humor you also bring to this chamber. Thanks so much. I also was remiss to mention that we had a birthday of Councilmember Hanks as well on Sunday. Let's give her a big happy birthday. We won't ask for a number. We'll just say happy birthday. Oh, okay. Anyway, now we'll move to the adoption of the minutes.
None.
Messages and papers from the mayor.
None.
Communication from city, county, and borough offices.
None.
Petitions and communications.
None.
Land use call-ups.
None.
Thank you. We'll now have communication from Speaker Adrian Adams.
Thank you very much, Majority Leader. Good morning, everyone. I too will chime in on the chorus of happy birthdays to Council Member Hanks, Council Member Brewer, and I believe Tanisha Edwards also. Happy birthday to all of you. I want to also thank, if he is still if he didn't leave the chambers, Rabbi Potasnik, who is such an amazing spiritual figure for so many of us. Thank you, Rabbi, for always bringing your wisdom to these chambers, to the people's house. We thank you. There's not much more, colleagues, that hasn't already been said about the reductions to school budgets over the past weeks. Today, we're voting on Resolution 283A to call on the Mayor and Chancellor of the Department of Education to immediately reverse the DOE's reductions to school budgets. The resolution calls on the Chancellor to submit updated school budgets to the Panel for Education Policy to reflect the restoration and for a full accounting of unspent federal stimulus funds by the DOE. It calls on the Mayor to promptly use unspent federal stimulus dollars and other funds to fully restore the $469 million that the DOE has removed from school budgets, which far exceeds the $131.5 million that the administration indicated in the city budget that would be reduced from school budgets. Throughout the summer, the DOE has offered piecemeal restorations that would not address the entirety of the gap it created for schools. The Council is making it clear today with this resolution that school budgets should be fully restored. The DOE should also immediately release any money it has been willing to offer to our schools over the course of the past weeks, because of the act of withholding money must stop. The lack of accountability and transparency by the DOE, the funding of our schools, and education policy will continue to be a priority for this Council. Our students, teachers, and school communities deserve more support from the DOE, and it's clear that much more oversight and accountability is required. Thank you, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Speaker Adams. We'll now move into the discussion of general orders. If anybody is signed up, I see none. She's going to do what she votes. I asked them to speak when she votes.
Got it.
Congratulations. We will now move to the report of special committees.
None.
Report of standing committees.
Report of the Committee on Education, Resolution 283A.
Amended a couple of general orders.
On the general orders calendar, intro 179A.
Laid over, I would now ask that the clerk take a roll call vote on resolution number 283A.
Abreu.
Aye.
Ariola. Aviles.
Aye.
Ayala.
Aye.
Barron. Botcher.
Aye.
Brannan.
Aye.
Brewer.
Aye.
Brooks Powers. Caban.
Aye.
Carr.
Aye.
De La Rosa.
Aye.
Dinowitz.
Aye.
Farias.
Aye.
Feliz.
Aye.
Gennaro. Gutierrez.
Aye.
Hanif.
Permission to explain my vote?
Go ahead.
Thank you. I vote aye. I'd like to thank Education Chair Joseph and Speaker Adams for bringing this resolution to the floor today. This vote could not be more timely. Right now, our teachers, principals, and other staff members are preparing for the first day of school this Thursday, and they're doing so with less resources than they had last year, and that is unacceptable. In my district, like many other districts across the city, teachers and staff are being removed from the schools that they taught in last year and years prior. These are teachers and staff who are essential to arts education, after-school programs, and mental health supports. They are depended on and beloved by the students, parents, and staff that make up our school communities. At the Education Committee meeting where this resolution was heard, Comptroller Lander clearly laid out how the mayor and the chancellor can reverse the $469 million in cuts to our schools in a fiscally responsible way. The DOE budgeted approximately $3.018 billion in federal stimulus funding in the 2021-2022 school year. However, only $2.37 billion were spent, meaning over $600 million were budgeted but not spent. This money can be and must be rolled over to the 2022-2023 school year. Our young people and their families are recovering from the academic, socio-emotional, and economic impacts of the pandemic. We have an influx of new students with immense needs, including the approximately 1,400 new school-aged asylum seekers who have arrived in recent months. Now is not the time to be asking our schools to do more with less. I urge the administration to heed this resolution and provide our schools with the resources they need. Thank you.
Hanks.
Yes. Aye.
Thank you. Holden.
I vote aye.
Hudson.
Aye.
Joseph.
Aye.
Kagan. Krishnan.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Lewis.
Permission to explain my vote?
Yes, sorry.
It's okay, I get it. I just want to thank Speaker Adams and Chair Joseph for their leadership on this matter. I look forward to us getting funds fully restored, but more importantly, I just want to make sure within the appeals process of this situation that everything is equitable for all districts. So I will be submitting something at a later time to Chair Joseph to ensure that District 45 is well represented in the appeals process. Thank you. Sorry. Aye.
Thank you. Marte.
Aye.
Mealy. Menon.
Aye.
Thank you. Moya.
I vote aye.
Narcisse.
I vote aye.
Nurse.
Aye.
Osei.
Aye.
Palladino. Wrestler.
Permission to explain my vote?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I'd firstly just like to thank Speaker Adams and Chair Joseph and each of the members of this body who have pushed over these last few months to see funding restored to our schools. And I think this resolution is a very significant step in the right direction where we are strongly calling on the mayor to do the right thing and fund our neighborhood schools. You know, without his intervention, we are going to see larger class sizes on Thursday, fewer music and art teachers, fewer dual language programs, essential cuts to our schools that we simply cannot afford. And they make no sense because the mayor has the resources at his disposal. He can fix this today, and this resolution loudly and clearly calls upon him to do just that. And if he fails to, which I very much hope that he does not, but if he does fail to, I look forward to standing with each and every one of you in a muscular and robust budget mod fight in the weeks and months to come. Thank you.
Vote, Councilmember Wrestler.
Sure, sorry about that. I'm an aye, enthusiastic aye.
Thank you, sir. Richardson Jordan.
Aye.
Thank you. One moment. Riley. Rivera.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Salamanca. Sanchez. Councilmember Schulman.
Aye.
Thank you. Stevens.
Permission to explain my vote? No, I'm playing. Aye.
Thank you, Councilmember.
I was going to take your temperature there for a second.
Thank you, Councilmember Ung.
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Velasquez.
Aye.
Thank you. Vernikov. Williams.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Wan.
Aye.
Thank you. Yeager.
Aye.
Thank you. Borelli.
I recognize explaining my vote is about as popular as the Red Sox right now, but nonetheless...
We want the Red Sox to beat the Rays, so they're popular right now.
Mere technicalities, Majority Leader. I think this vote's an easy yes for all of us to make. Certainly we all support putting more money in the classrooms, less in big tweed salaries, less on consultants the DOE seems to need while they sacrifice art supplies and athletic programs and things like that. But I think we also have to acknowledge why we're in this position that we're in, and it's because of a drop-off in student enrollment. And that drop-off didn't just start in the pandemic. It accelerated in the pandemic. 100,000 students left the New York City public school system. But this decline has been happening since 2015. 10% of our school children have left the system. Some because of generationally failing schools, others during the pandemic because our school system decided unnecessarily to remain closed and to be as difficult as possible for working parents, and others because they felt that they can get a better education elsewhere. So I think, I hope rather, that this body would consider some of those reasons and consider that people that do leave the public school system are still our constituent. And I would hope that we would begin looking at other alternatives such as tuition tax credits, vouchers, and the expansion of the charter cap going forward. Again, these aren't our enemies, people that leave the public school system. They're our constituents. They're parents who decide what hopefully that they think is best for their children, and I'd rather be on their side than treating them as the enemy. So I vote yes on this resolution happily. I think the tougher conversation might come if there's a budget mod, as the Councilman Ressler pointed out. It'll be a very muscular debate, and I intend to hit the weight room, I guess, for that. But thank you, Madam Speaker, and with that, I vote aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Powers.
Thank you. I will make remarks. Sorry to Councilmember Stevens. I share some of Councilmember Borelli's and Minority Leader Borelli's concerns about what is happening in the school building when it comes to declined enrollment. And I do think in the years ahead we are going to have to face some difficult choices about what that looks like for our school buildings and for our school system. Declined enrollment means that we are going to have potentially less money in some of these school buildings, and we're going to have to tackle those questions about how to prioritize and how to spend that money. We're going to have to look, as the speaker has called on, to look at the funding formulas by which guide many of the funding decisions that the school system makes. And I think we're going to have to look at the loss of stimulus funding and a lot of other stress systems on our school building and our school system, and have to face some choices about exactly where to prioritize and make prioritize. But I think for many of us, we saw this happen play out this year when we do believe there is still money left over in this to help sort of pad the budgets of the school system as we face that declining enrollment, give us opportunity and breathing room to make those choices and make those decisions, and to make sure that none of our actual schools are facing devastating cuts that could harm arts programs or after-school programs or teachers or just teachers themselves. So I think that for many of the colleagues here, we've heard very clearly from them that they want to make sure that their schools are, well, of course, all of us, well-funded, that they have the critical programs, and they don't lose those so close to the school year when principals will have very little opportunity or time to make the hard decisions that they may have to make if we don't restore the funding. So I want to give a lot of credit to our education chair, Rita Joseph, to the speaker, and to all the colleagues here, because I know that many of you have been hearing from your parents and your teachers directly and principals and advocating on their behalf, and that's what our jobs are. And that I don't think anybody wants to see a school building that doesn't have an arts program in it or have the teachers they need to support class sizes that make sense for our public school students. So I'm an obvious eye on this, but I do think that after this, we do need to make an effort not only to keep this money in the budget, but then also have open up discussion, as the speaker has said, about what does the formula look like and what is the process going forward look like so that we don't have to face this decision again. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been out there leading this discussion. I hope that we'll continue this into the school year to make sure that our schools get the serious discussion that they deserve about how we should fund them in the years ahead, especially with, I think, some financial challenges that might be facing the school system and the city in the years ahead. So with that, I am voting aye and want to thank everyone for all your advocacy and efforts. I see Councilmember Narcisse.
I just want to add and
Hold on,
say thank you to my speaker. I'm voting aye, but what you just said just touched something in my heart as a mother of 4 children, and knowing the inequities in our school.
We're going to vote, and then I'll call on you for general discussion.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We just want to finish the vote.
Thank you. Speaker Adams.
I'd like to associate myself with the remarks of the Majority Leader. Thank you, Majority Leader. In particular, thanks to our Education Chair, Rita Joseph, and the entire Education Committee. I do vote aye.
Okay. Thank you. Before we close the vote now, Councilmember Narcisse, did you want to make comments associated with your vote?
Yes. It is imperative for us to understand, in order to address the inequities that we see in our communities, it's been decades where schools were neglected, and having a great speaker, the first Black woman to be a Speaker of the Council and a mother and grandmother, like she always said, and Rita being a teacher in the classroom, telling us how difficult it has been. So we are doing our part, and I'm praying that the mayor understand, and I'm sure he should understand by now, the importance of refunding and put the money where it belongs to our children classroom. If the chancellor really care as much as he stated. So we praying that they understand after we vote today, this is not a game. This is very important for them to do what they're supposed to do in order to address the inequities in education like we should. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Narcisse. Councilmember Shaker Christian, did you have something you want to add to your vote?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to also emphasize in voting on today's resolution, we as a body too are committing to the long work ahead to demanding and ensuring more accountability from the Department of Education. It is very clear through this process how both untransparent the Department of Education has been with information that they've shared with this body, with the public, both in its accuracy as well as the timeliness of it too. And so one of the main things that in the work that we have ahead is to ensure that the Department of Education is much more accountable to us and provides detailed, specific information of how they intend to spend their budget and that they will provide that information to us in a timely manner. I think that is crucial. That is the accountability that we demand from every single city agency, and the Department of Education must be held to the same standard as well. and must see themselves held to the same standard. And that is the work that we have ahead of us to ensure that DOE is actually, that every single dollar that we as a City Council put into the Department of Education, it is spent on our schools, our children, and our classrooms. That is something that we, I think, recommit to and ensure that will happen going forward as well. Thank you.
Thank you. We will hold the vote for 1 second. Thanks.
Welcome, Councilmember Brooks Powers.
Good morning. I vote aye, enthusiastically.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All items on today's general order calendar are adopted by a vote of 41 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions. We now have the introduction and reading of bills.
None.
Thank you. There are no resolution on today's calendar, so we'll move to general discussion. I see no one signed up for general discussion. You know, this could become a tradition. I'll now call on Speaker Adams to close today's stated meeting.
Prior to closure, on behalf of this entire body, we express our sincerest condolences to Councilmember Sandra Ung on the loss of her father. We express our condolences and love to you and your family. The stated meeting of September 6, 2022 is hereby adjourned.